what is she? I get that she's trying to protect her skin, but like, where did the hat come from?
I don't know. It looks like she was like, oh, I don't want to fold my fitted sheet, so I'll just wear it on my head. Welcome to And Just Like Yap. I am Andi.
And I'm Caroline.
And this is an And Just Like That recap podcast. We are going to jump right in with Outlook Good, which is the first episode, the premiere of season 3 of And Just Like That. We somehow are getting a third season of this show.
You know, I don't know if you've seen the tweet where they someone joked about it being written by ChatGPT, and it feels like it more and more with every episode.
It feels like AI has definitely been involved. I was saying we are going to jump right in, and the way we are going to do recaps is we are going through some select choice screenshots from the episode. So we are going to jump right into episode 1, which I believe, if I'm not mistaken, was written and directed by Michael Patrick King, so it's his fault.
As always. We blame men. It's all their fault.
We do. Caroline, do you have any blanket things you'd like to say about the episode overall before we jump into recapping?
I mean, it is the most confounding show on television. I'm simultaneously both happy that the women are here, but also, how did we get here?
Yeah, that echoes my sentiments fully. The beginning of the episode, we have Carrie. It's panning around her new, insanely huge apartment, and she's back at her little desk, and we see that she is writing a postcard, or not really writing, drawing a heart on a postcard.
Which feels, okay, well, before we even get to that, can we talk about how hot Sarah Jessica Parker is?
Yeah,
because
100%.
This outfit felt classic Carrie.
100%.
Of itself. Like, it felt rich. I forgot to look up the designer, but this outfit was like, this is how I always imagined Carrie would dress at this age, and we're not dressing her like a Meemaw, which we will talk about in a second. She looks like Carrie in her 50s, and this is where you feel like you have hope. We feel like we've got Sex in the City here, and often the rug is taken out from under us. So back to the postcard.
Yes, absolutely. Well, also, she's got her bra as part of the outfit. Yeah. That is very, very Carrie Bradshaw. Also, that coffee table has been with the Second City viewer and Carrie for 20, 25 years. So there are things that we recognize, and she's like in her little desk by the window to like sort of place her in her Carrie Bradshawness within her new giant apartment. We see that boxes are still being unpacked. Shoe looks a little bit bigger than she did at the end of last season, so like a little bit of time has passed. She is drawing a heart on a postcard addressed to Aidan, who I need to note here because they let us see it. He lives on Handsome Pond Road. Which, why?
Why? Okay.
I mean, maybe that's a real road. I don't know.
But also, it feels very made up in Michael Patrick King's version of what he thinks the South is.
Yeah.
I doubt he's ever been to the South. How would you feel if you got a postcard that just had a heart on it in the mail?
If it was from somebody that I was in a relationship with, I would be like, oh, that's cute. And also, like, I wish there was more on it.
Yeah. Like, it feels like a lot of effort to, when I would rather get an okay text, like, that feels equally as assaulted versus a postcard with just a heart in the mail.
Correct. Like, we don't need to go get postcard stamps. Like, that is an extra errand we don't need to do if you want to talk to me.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Carrie's mailing the postcard, and then I just wanted to take a minute for the opening titles because Only You by Yazoo is playing, which is honestly one of my favorite songs, and I think it set me up for success at the beginning of this episode because I was like, ooh, I actually, like, maybe this is going to be really good because I love this song.
Yeah.
And also just, I'm sorry, like, the blue font with sort of, like, the light pink of the dress, it gave me very, like, John Hughes, like, Pretty in Pink, 16 Candles sort of vibes.
Totally. It has the same, I don't know if you've seen the poster or trailer for Materialist that's coming out next week. It has the same, like, italic font.
Yes.
And it gives very 90s rom-com. So I feel like
it
feels like we have the bones. The structure is there.
Yes.
But
For sure. And it's like hard to make me feel anything but like happy and nostalgic when Only You by Yazoo is playing.
Yeah, absolutely.
So like I went in feeling hopeful for sure. And then Hot to Go starts blasting and we are at the Lady Bar.
Lady Bar.
We are trying so hard to be current. Just the Hot to Go playing. It was the same thing in the previous 2 seasons. There's something about taking like popular culture and like inserting it in a sort of a ham-fisted way into this show that like makes it a little bit cringy.
Totally. Yeah, we're trying to shove 2 worlds into one. However, there are 2 things I feel about this. One, I did kind of feel like I would love a scene of Miranda queening out the Pink Pony Club. Like, discovering her sexuality. And also, as happy as I am to see her with the girls at the gay bar, Lady Bar, why does Miranda not have any gay friends yet? Like, I think it's like what we're missing. I think if we were going to add any people to the world, giving Miranda genuine gay queer friends would add a piece of authenticity that we are needing desperately for the show.
That is a really good point, because Miranda has been living in New York for her entire adult life. Mm-hmm. And she spent the last, I don't know, time isn't really real in the end, just like that universe. No. But she spent the last, let's say, year plus, like, dating Che, who is part of the queer community. You didn't make any new friends?
Not one? Not a single one? Not a single new friend. Also, why couldn't Anthony take her? Not that it's, like, the same world, but, like, that would be such a natural plot line for Anthony to take Miranda out to a gay bar.
It really would. And, I mean, it's just further evidence that the show is written by, like, an older white gay guy, right? Because, like... Yes. Yeah. I don't know. The queer details have always felt, like, for the previous 2 seasons, like, a little bit shoehorned in. And, like, yeah, that's a great point. Why doesn't she have other queer friends?
We got rid of Nia Wallace and we couldn't insert another gay friend? I don't know.
I'm really missing Nia Wallace in this episode, I will say. Okay, so we're at the Lady Bar. Charlotte and Miranda are, like, a little bit concerned for Carrie because her relationship is kind of on hold. Carrie's playing it off. And then we, of course, have Miranda running in to her old babysitter, who she thinks is flirting with her across the bar, but just wanted to say hi. And then classic Miranda, she puts her foot in her mouth repeatedly because that is what this offshoot of the Sex and the City extended universe has Miranda doing constantly, is just fumbling and putting her foot in her mouth.
Harvard-educated Miranda can't string 2 sentences together in any social situation.
No, not without mentioning how much her life has fully imploded.
I know. And we have to shout out, it's featuring Chicago actor Atra Azdu.
Yes,
playing the babysitter, which I had to Google. I was like, is that Atra? And then it was.
I know. Good for Atra. Love that so much. She plays Cassandra Walsh, Miranda's old babysitter. Okay, so then I am so sorry to Sarita Chowdhury for the screenshot, but I really laughed so hard when she's, like, asleep in this, like, sexy getup, and then she, in her, like, half-asleep mind, thinks it's a Zoom call and just goes, Seema Patel. Like, I actually thought that was a really funny detail. Like, well done.
Yeah.
She can't get Ravi on the Zoom call. I have to tell you, I could care less about this relationship. I wish I cared about this relationship.
I think this is the overall issue with her and LTW. Like, this feels like a recycled Samantha plot.
Yes.
Like, this is what happened in Sex and the City, the movie. And why Samantha breaks up with Smith Jerrod.
Yep.
So it just feels like well-worn territory we've seen before. But she looks amazing. Her breasts look incredible.
Her breasts do look incredible. She looks incredible. I will also say, in general, though we all love Samantha and we all love Kim Cattrall, you know, she didn't want to do the show, and that is her prerogative. Yeah. I really think that Seema is becoming a really good character, and the way Sarita Chowdhury plays this character is, like, just as, like, funny as Samantha, but also very real and grounded. Like, I don't want to say Kim Cattrall's a bad actress, because she's not. She's just a much more, like, campy and obvious actress.
Yeah, 100%, which is what we love. Like, that's, like, part of the charm of Samantha. But 100%. There is something more grounded to Seema, which I appreciate.
Yes, like, she's more of a real human being, which I really do appreciate. The same with the LTW plotline. Like, they're trying really hard to make us care about it, and they just didn't give these characters enough to work with. But it does sort of seem like this is the last of this plotline for a while, because I think Seema is going to get a new love interest soon, which we'll talk about. And then she smokes a cigarette, waiting for him to call back on FaceTime, and sets her mattress on fire and burns her hair.
Which, okay, then I follow up, why is Carrie not there? What, like, this seems like, how long was the cigarette lit? Like, what was the time frame? Like, everything about this happened so suddenly.
Yeah.
It was jarring.
It felt a little bit like we need a wacky energy bump, like, right away. And it felt, like, very self-aware of the fact that, like, not being able to get her director boyfriend on a Zoom call, like, is not that interesting. So they were like, what could we do? Okay, we are back to the lady bar, as you previewed earlier.
Okay, when you heard that Rosie O'Donnell was announced as a guest star, what role did you think she was going to play?
You know, I have to be honest with you. I remember hearing that, but, like, it didn't fully register. I guess I think I assumed maybe she would be a queer character. I don't know. I don't think I thought about it that much. I certainly was not expecting this. No. What were your thoughts when you saw that cast announcement?
I thought, okay, so she also guest on Hacks this season as well, as herself. So I sort of assumed, especially when the screen grab leaked of a outfit we will be talking about later, I'm sure. I assumed maybe she might be playing herself, was what I thought again as well. I thought it was going to be a cameo of Rosie O'Donnell existing in this world.
And I thought she was going to be old Golly from Harriet the Spy.
We could only be so lucky. R.I.P. Michelle Trachtenberg.
Yes, R.I.P. God, that movie was so important to me as a tween.
It was formative.
Yeah. Hugely, hugely formative. So a thrill to see Rosie O'Donnell, and also just, like, I don't know. I don't even know how to really articulate this, but, like, the fact that we are getting to see Cynthia Nixon and Rosie O'Donnell on screen together just really healed my, like, 90s, early aughts heart, because they were both, like, very much on TV in the public sphere during that time. But if I'm not mistaken, I believe that, like, they were either still in the closet or, like, very newly out of the closet. I don't know. It was just wonderful to see these two, like, iconic gay actresses together in this show is really all I can say about it. So they are the only two, quote-unquote, randos left at the bar.
Yep.
And then Rosie starts flirting a little bit. And they have her in a very, like, understated outfit. You can see she's wearing a cross, but, like, it doesn't jump out at you, really. She just looks like a lady at a lady bar.
Did you have the name of the conference they went to in your screen grabs? Because I have a lot. I need to talk about that.
I did not, but go ahead.
Okay, so she says she's at a conference for the compassion of the unhoused.
Yes.
What does that mean? Like, I Googled to see if it was real. It does not exist.
Okay, it's not real.
And it reminds me on the same level on Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, Bravo heads know on the last few seasons, there was an organization that one of the housewives, Dorit Kemsley, worked with called Homeless, Not Toothless. And...
What?
Yes. They don't provide them housing, but they make sure their teeth are fixed.
Are you serious? And then Miranda mentioned, she was like, oh, I have a colleague covering that. And I was like, you have a colleague who's a lawyer from Human Rights Watch?
Rights Watch?
What do you mean, covering? What are you talking about?
Are you a lawyer for compassion? Like, what is happening?
I don't understand. So they meet and they decide that they are going to go back to Mary, who is Rosie O'Donnell's character, Mary's hotel together. And Miranda has a very sort of like classic Miranda moment of like, you can sort of see that she's like maybe wanting to overthink it, and then she just decides like, fuck it, let's just do it.
I'm new Miranda.
Yeah, this is new Miranda. We're trying new things. Okay, and then we get a quick cut to LTW, who is just waking up in the morning in her incredible home. Look at this kitchen. I just needed a beat for the kitchen. Like the lighting.
The coffee setup.
I know.
Like a built-in coffee setup is that plus a kitchen island. I mean, God.
Listen, we all want the Nancy Meyers kitchen island. Everybody wants the Nancy Meyers kitchen.
But then it's also so funny to know that this is the contrast that she's trying to get funding for a documentary for PBS. Because
correct.
No one has this money at PBS. Because we don't even have funding for PBS anymore. So
we sure
as
don't.
A recording. Yeah.
Yes. Well, that's been like a running theme that like LTW has plenty of money because her husband works in finance and seems to also come from generational wealth, but she wants to like make her own way and like not take handouts from him, which obviously I respect. I mean, this scene had absolutely like nothing of note in it other than this kitchen. So here's this kitchen.
Here we go. We love the kitchen.
We love the kitchen. Okay, now we are back at the hotel and Mary is just thrilled with everything that is happening to her.
Glowing. She's glowing.
Absolutely glowing. And this is where we find out that Miranda has slept with a nun. And not just slept with a nun, has provided the nun with her first sexual experience ever. I actually really liked this plotline because it felt like classic Sex and the City Miranda to me. Like,
totally. She's
dating again. She's having like dating and sexual misadventures. She's doing her sort of like very classic Cynthia Nixon as Miranda thing of like just repeating whatever the person just said, but like making it funny.
I also really loved their chemistry together. It was very fun to watch the two of them together.
Yes, 100%. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. It was a ridiculous plot line to make this woman a nun, but I really like their chemistry, as you said. And also, like, Miranda has just come off, like, a big moment of, like, awakening and transitioning in her life. And I like the idea that she is, like, also providing that for someone who was even more not in touch with what they actually wanted out of life.
Totally. And, like, also another late-in-life lesbian. So I think it was, like, nice that it was not... They didn't try to force a 25-year-old on us with Miranda.
Yes.
I think this felt much more authentic to who Miranda is.
Yeah, it was sweet and it was earnest. And we jumped to another... There were just so many plot lines in this episode that you're like, what is the point? Charlotte walking Mr. Burton with LTW. Mr. Burton is, of course, the bulldog. And this woman claims that Richard Burton attacked...
Come on, Andy.
I'm sorry. Richard Burton attacked her dog, Peanut, and shattered his sacral spine. And as we found out from the deeply, deeply poisoned brains of the Sex and the City internet, this woman also appears as another angry, shouty character in the extended universe, one of the women who throws paint on Samantha while wearing a fur coat and screams fur is murder.
In the Sex and the City movie.
Yes, the first one. Just a moment for the walking outfits of Charlotte and LTW and the fact that classic woke Charlotte being like, don't body shame my dog, and then we can start over. Keep speaking. So there's that plot line.
You know, all the Charlotte plots are just kind of fake or feel we're showing we're woke, we're positive, you know?
Yes.
And It feels so like a caricature of Charlotte.
Moving forward, we have a classic Carrie and a friend walking through New York, eating a treat, or like pretending to eat a treat. Because if you pay attention, they don't actually eat anything.
I know.
But this is like a classic Sex and the City trope, like a summer walk and talk, little treat, little snack. Now, the only thing that's different here is that Carrie is wearing a hat that makes her look like a popover.
You know, Little Miss Muffet sat on her tuffet, eating
She
her
sure
food's
did.
away.
Eating her tasty delight.
Yeah, you know, we feel the Pat Fields not in the, you know, in the universe in outfits like this, but it gives us a talking point. We're talking.
It does. I feel like this show has the ability to use costumes to fill in the gaps that like the plot leaves. You know what I mean? Like there isn't enough to like actually care about. So they're like, here's a crazy hat. I mean, this is one of the bolder fashion choices that I have seen Carrie make. And she's made some pretty bold choices. But this is like so egregious. I like can't. She looks like an old-timey like flying machine. Like what is she? Like what is she?
The question is, what is she? I get that she's trying to protect her skin, but like, where did the hat come from?
I don't know. Like, was it gifted to her? Did she see it and was like, I have to have that? I don't know what designer is responsible for this hat. I did not look it up, but yeah, it looks like she was like, oh, I don't want to fold my fitted sheet, so I'll just wear it on my head. And yet she still looks beautiful because she's a gorgeous person.
She's Parker.
And we've seen her pull off so many egregious outfits that like it certainly registered when I saw this, but it didn't like hit the way it would have hit if I hadn't already seen. I've been through a lot with this woman. Sartorially.
Yeah, we've been through the trenches with Carrie. And
we really have.
This really took us somewhere.
It did.
We haven't been before.
Yeah. That the hot air balloon of that hat took us right out of. I'm assuming they're in Central Park. I have no idea.
No. I think this is Washington Square Park because I have a question.
Right.
I have a note about my most insane outfit of the episode was from one of the extras that they passed by in a second who graduated.
Oh, she's wearing
the purple bedazzled sweater that says college on it, which are the NYU purple. And my question is, was this their way around paying for NYU merch?
1000%. It is absolutely the colors of NYU. And the fact that I didn't notice this, her sweatshirt just says college, of course.
It's bedazzled and says college with the most insane Joanne Fabrics, Michaels, like every sequin that they could have put on that sweater they did.
All right. And right to another egregious fashion choice. So LTW is working with her producers on this 10-part PBS series about unspoken Black sheroes. And her producers want her to make one of them Michelle Obama. And she makes the point that, like, Michelle Obama is not unsung. I feel like they're setting up the fact that Michelle Obama is going to star or make an appearance in this season.
And I feel like we're overdue for Michelle Obama cameo in this era.
We do have to talk about this necklace because it has been all over my Instagram. Mm-hmm. I mean, I've seen the very obvious comparison to, like, you know, when you're looking through, like, a furniture catalog and, like, a table has, like, a bowl of wicker balls in it for some reason.
I want to know, like, as an actor, when you have that being put around your neck, like, do you have, like, does she just disassociate and just, I'm happy to be on an HBO Max show, put whatever you want on me? But you have to think, like, do they have any input on, like, I feel like the famous Coco Chanel saying where she always says to take one item off before you leave the house.
Yes.
And we could have put this one.
We could have done without this one. I mean, it's just so much. Carrie is having yet another low stakes problem, which is that her alarm in her giant apartment will not stop going off.
I just loved it as a callback to, is it season 4 when Aidan shows up for Miranda? When she slips and falls?
Oh my God, that's right. Yes. Well, she doesn't slip and fall. It's like, or no, maybe she does. Her back goes out.
Yeah, because she gets out of the shower and she's naked. Mm-hmm. And Carrie sends over Aidan. And I really was hoping, I wish we could have gotten some little line of a callback of like, oh, I actually showed up for you instead of sending my boyfriend or something.
Oh, that really...
That would have been such an easy tie together.
That really does feel like a missed opportunity. Carrie's on the floor. She calls Miranda, but then doesn't need Miranda. Miranda comes over. Okay, this is where, again, I loved this plot line. I loved all the opportunities for Cynthia Nixon to be funny, especially in reference to how touristy Mary was. The fact that she wanted her to get dinner at Tavern on the Green, while it's a little bit snobby of the characters to be like, oh my God, she wants to go to Tavern on the Green. Like, I don't know. It just provided a lot of humor, and I thought it was very funny.
Yeah, it also it was a classic Carrie Miranda scene.
Yes.
And I felt so comforted. And the exchange, the jokes about the Holy Ghost and how she deflowered the Virgin Mary. And this was so Sex in the City. And I could have had an entire episode of it.
Yes. The banter between Carrie and Miranda was there for this. Okay, so now we head to the Met, and we have Anthony singing the theme song of That Girl to Carrie. Okay, this part confused me. It was a friends and family preview of a ballet, but it is a ballet that a high schooler is in at the Met? Question mark?
Rock said he's 20 years old.
Oh, I did not get that.
And Lily plays the piano for the class when they're rehearsing. But also Lily is the villain of the franchise, so...
That is very, very true. That is very true. And for those who don't know what we mean, watch the first movie.
The first movie, the pilot of And Just Like That, and she is ordering from Shein.
Episode. Yeah, that's true. And Rock does call her out for that, validly. So yes, we are at the ballet. This is the person that Lily has a crush on. I mean, look at those abs. I guess.
Yeah. We've all seen Center Stage. I get it.
I mean, yeah, there's something about a dude doing ballet. I mean... Oh, and we have Anthony giving his very rude opinion to Carrie that she should not be, like, sitting around waiting for Aidan, even though she seems chill and cool about it. And I don't know. I mean, this is, like, classic Anthony. He's always been, like, bitchy queen.
Totally. But I'll say also in his defense, Carrie, it's not like Carrie's in her 30s. I've had this conversation with a few friends about this episode. They're in their 50s and 60s. Waiting 5 years... like, is not the same as when you're in your 20s and 30s. Like, you don't have time to wait 5 years because who knows what could happen. So it feels very unrealistic in that sense because, like, what 50-year-old is going to sit around for 5 years?
No, absolutely. And I would also argue that, like, waiting around at any age, even if you were in your 20s and 30s, where, like, yeah, you have more time until maybe you drop dead, but, like, you don't have time, like... 5 years, you can totally become a completely, like, different person with a different life. It's a ridiculous thing to ask of somebody.
There's an entire musical about it.
Listen, with all that happens in the last 5 years, like, it should not be okay to tell Carrie to wait. Like,
no! Yeah.
There could be a lot that goes on. Carrie heads home to consult her magic 8 ball because as we know about Carrie, she doesn't go to therapy. She never speaks to any sort of like maternal figure in her life. She consults her couple friends and then I guess this magic 8 ball.
Which is funny because she is like nostalgic for her 80s toys because there's that episode with the game of Twister, the original show that she has.
Yes.
So there's some childhood trauma that she is not touched.
Yes, for sure. I also love that, like, the Magic 8 Ball is, like, sitting in, like, a hat box with, like, other little, like, trinkets and whatnot. Like, it feels very staged, but, like, I and every person I know and respect also has some sort of, like, box of treasured garbage. Just, like, random treasured garbage.
But it's our treasured garbage.
Correct. So she consults her Magic 8 Ball, which says Outlook Good, which is, of course, the title of the episode. This is our titular moment. I will say this reminded me that I always appreciate the fact that Carrie does absolutely nothing to her nails ever, and they look just like mine.
She's like us.
She's like us. I have always appreciated this about Carrie, though, because, like, as glam as she is, like, she just, I don't know, she's very chill about what her hands and her nails look like. Not that there's anything wrong with not being, obviously.
No. But it's like, it makes sense because it's like, she puts all of her money in her fashion. So it's sort of, that's the bucket that she puts her pink tax into.
Yeah, it feels very consistent. And then we have one of the worst things I have ever watched on television. Carrie is in bed. Her phone rings. So Aidan calls her. He's 3 beers deep in his truck in a field. She's in bed.
On Handsome Pond Road.
I don't know why, but John Corbett has always sort of given me the ick when he's being, trying to be, like, sexy.
No, I 100% agree.
And I'm not just talking about SATC universe. I'm talking globally. Like, also My Big Fat Greek Wedding. Also, whatever the fuck else he's been in. Like,
Raising Helen?
Yes.
Do you remember that movie?
Barely. Oh my God. I don't know what it is. It's not that I don't think he's an attractive guy. I do. There is something about when he tries to be sexy that I'm just like, no, I don't.
I'll also say what's weird about this scene is that just having rewatched the pilot, it mirrors what they make Big do in the pilot. Because Carrie asks him to masturbate and she just wants to watch. So maybe it's a shame kink that they're like trying to humiliate these men, but I don't know. It's not enjoyable to watch for the viewers.
No. And I don't want to be ageist. I don't want to be like, oh, I don't need to see like people over 50 having phone sex. But also, I don't need to see people over 50 having phone sex.
No, I don't need to see anyone having phone sex.
I sure don't. I sure don't. So yeah, Aidan's in his truck. He's saying that he aches for her. I took a video of myself watching this scene as it progressed to send to you because it was just so bad.
He just licked his hand. I hate this. This is so good.
Haven't we been through enough? I had to keep pausing it because I just couldn't get through it.
So he aches for her. He starts up some phone sex. Carrie is at first participating, and then he accidentally leans on the horn with his knee, and that really kills the vibe.
Yep.
But he's still going, and take a look at the screen for the worst. Oh, God. Why did he have to lick his hand? Why?
Everything about this is like, whatever he got paid for this, he should have gotten triple.
Yeah, seriously. It was so bad. I was so upset. I, like, hated watching this so much. And then we have Carrie in bed. This actually did make me laugh, though, because she's, like, barely trying to, like, pretend that she is still into this. And she goes, oh, my goodness.
Very Sex in the City. Very Sex in the City. Very Carrie's faking. And it was great.
Carrie is faking. Also, like, I mean, here's a good time to point out what many people have pointed out over the years. For a show called Sex in the City, for a writer who is focused on sex, she is, like, pretty sex averse a lot of the time.
She's a prude.
She's very much a prude. Like, first of all, we're sleeping with our bra on again. I'm not saying that makes you a prude. It just makes you uncomfortable. Why would you sleep in your bra?
Never.
I do think it must be like an SJP thing that she will not show her boobs, which that's fine. That is her choice. But again, for a show about sex, she's not very sexually liberated. Now, that being said, if I got this phone call, I would do the exact same thing she's doing.
Oh,
because
totally.
I apologize to Jim, who is my fiance and our producer, for what he is about to hear, but I did have a college boyfriend who, when we were apart, liked to have these kinds of phone calls with me, and I always just sat on the other end like,
It keeps you connected, but it's also just, there's nothing more humiliating than have to do phone sex.
Yeah, I have never participated in it successfully, and what I mean by successfully is, like, I have never gotten anything out of it. Personally, I don't want to knock it because, you know, all sex is good for the people who want to have it, but...
Amen.
So, do you have anything else to say about this scene?
I mean, you know, we could say more and it still wouldn't be enough, and I feel upset for all of us for having to experience it.
Well said. Well said. Let's get out of here. All right. Thank God. A moment of levity after that. Miranda's at her desk and gets a text from Mary and calls Carrie just to, like, report. And again, it's such a funny plot line of, like, Mary wants me to go to Central Park and ride the carousel with her.
I know. It's sweet.
It's really sweet. It was really sweet and really funny. I just really enjoyed that. Jumping ahead, Ravi is back in town because Seema demanded that he come visit after she almost died in a cigarette mattress fire. And he does not remember why her hair is shorter. Here's what I will say. The fact that he noticed and commented on her hair being negligibly shorter is kind of huge. Because
I know, because most men don't notice a haircut. So...
especially if it is not like a drastic haircut.
Yeah, it's just like a trim. She basically got a trim.
If you're taking off just a few inches and a heterosexual man notices, they should be commended for at least noticing.
I know, I rarely ever want to give a man credit, but
almost
I'll give
never.
him credit for that. Yeah.
Obviously, he doesn't remember why it's shorter because she had a cigarette mattress fire. And then he wants to take her on a jaunt to look at possible shooting locations, which involves sitting in a van with his staff. This felt very Samantha to me, of like,
Totally.
I don't do vans, I don't drink Sprite and eat chips in vans. You know, she's dressed remarkably, she's got perfume on, like, I don't know. It just, the sort of like fish out of water and like, I am too classy.
Correct.
For this felt very like Samantha. And it became clear that we're wrapping up this Ravi thing. Like, he was the love interest of last season, and we are just gonna like tie this up in a nice, neat little bow and get rid of him.
It's time. Yeah, I mostly just feel bad for his assistant, and I hope he's getting paid for.
Are told, yes. As do I. Okay, now we get LTW and Charlotte having a coffee. And I just wanted to highlight this moment because Nicole Ari Parker is just very, very funny in this moment.
Yeah.
She, like, asks Charlotte, like, would you pay the MRI bill just to make this go away? And Charlotte, of course, is indignant. I don't know. Something about the way Nicole Ari Parker delivers this line, no, you would not, got it. I was like, that is good comedic acting. Like, I just enjoyed it.
Totally, and she's drinking out of Hermes Chinaware.
Oh my God, I would not have noticed that in a million years.
Oh, well, because this was also a plot line in Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, because this same housewife, Dorit Kemsley, used it at a dinner party, and I think it's something like $600 to $1,000 a plate. I'm probably wrong on that, but
a plate?
A plate, because it's
no.
Hermes.
And then, of course, this leads to, while Charlotte is talking about how Richard Burton is like the sweetest little thing, he's also going after the collector's item, Eugenia, doll. And then we are back at the park with the shouting lady, and we find out that it was not Richard Burton. It was a different dog that was off leash in the park, and that this woman can't see anything without her glasses. And just like that, that
plot is done.
That plot that nobody cared about comes to a very anticlimactic end. Oh, and this is just a reference picture for those of us who may not remember.
Murder!
Murder! Fur is murder! And then Samantha's like, oh, I love New York.
Yeah, I love New York in the spring.
Oh, yeah. I just love New York in the spring. Okay, I guess we weren't done with the Seema plotline. I wanted to... I wanted to get rid of this plotline quicker than it actually happened.
Yeah.
I do love the iconic line of I almost died waiting for a FaceTime. I really do love that.
That was a good giggle.
Seema gets her, like, big rom-com, like, walk-away moment. Great last line, roll credits, gets in her car with her personal driver, rides off into the sunset in whatever borough of New York we were traveling around looking at shooting locations. Yeah. So that plot line's out of the way. And now we are at Herbert's fundraiser? Was this like a fundraising event, I think?
Yeah, for him running for city comptroller.
City comptroller, correct. Carrie is reporting to the gals that she faked phone sex. Miranda, of course, is like, hey, I'm gay. I've faked a lot of sex with dudes.
In case you forgot, I'm gay now.
Correct. Yeah, I mean, this felt kind of classic Sex and the City. I do feel like there was a missing influence of a Seema or a Samantha. And then we have, finally, after 2 full seasons of underutilizing Christopher Jackson and his beautiful voice and the fact that he was in the original cast of Hamilton.
And Moana.
We get the 5 Alarm Choir, which is his college a cappella group. And if I am not mistaken, the gentleman in the middle also is a Broadway performer, I believe, who was also on Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt, I think.
That would make sense. They film in New York, so it's a lot of Broadway actors.
Yeah. Anyway, we get a lovely little a cappella moment to be like, by the way, Christopher Jackson has a gorgeous voice and we need to find a way for him to sing in the show. I don't know how they're going to tee him up to sing again after this.
That, if there's anything we've learned from And Just Like That is they will somehow find a way. It won't be believable, but it will happen.
Correct. We also have Harry just absolutely loving this performance. He stands up and cheers, and Charlotte makes him sit down because he's making a fuss. Oh, and then we have Anthony apologizing for being a jerk. Classic, like, Carrie and a friend having a reconciling moment where, it's a little quippy and funny, but it is earnest.
It makes me a little sad. It's bittersweet because it feels like this is the replacement for Stanford, obviously. Yeah. And it's like, this would have been the plot line with the two of them. I still love that they've found a way to make the two of them have a friendship, but I miss Stanford, and obviously there's no replacing him. But
there isn't. That is very sad. Like, it's very sad that Willie Garson passed away. I also feel like the show handled it. They handled it as best they could in the sense that, like, they were not prepared for that to happen, obviously.
Correct. Yeah.
So, like, making Stanford, like, a monk who has cut all material ties, like, it didn't feel super believable, but it's like, I don't know what else you're going to do without acknowledging the fact that he did pass away, and then that sort of...
Yeah, I think it's tough if, like, Big hadn't died, then maybe we could have had a much better resolution, but it's tough for 2 characters in 1 season.
I mean, as we said earlier, like, why don't they have other queer friends?
We'll always be asking this question.
Now we are getting to the climax of the only plot thread I cared about in this episode.
Correct.
Miranda gets another text from Mary, who's at the M&M store in Times Square, and she just saw Wicked, and she's like, Miranda, I gotta see you. Miranda shows up.
She said...
What? What was that?
I was doing the...
Is that a heart? Oh.
No!
Oh, yes! Holding space. Yes.
Yeah.
Holding space. Yes, she held space for Mary. I loved everything about this. I love that she's wearing a Wicked shirt. I love that she's got a fanny pack with her program from Wicked tucked in. I also love that, like, Miranda was like, I don't know, this makes me uncomfortable. Like, please don't leave God for me. Like, Miranda's like narcissistically worried that this is like all about her. Yes, as every character in Sex and the City always is. And I just love that Mary was like, I'm not going to divorce God. I'm married to God, but like, you helped me discover this new part of myself that I always knew was there. Unclear whether that meant that I'm gay or that I love musical theater and Times Square. Some combination of both.
Then this brought up some other questions for me. Do nuns not have access to musical theater? How is she not heard for good?
I don't know if nuns have access to musical theater. That is the question. If listeners know anything about, like, what music nuns are allowed to listen to,
let us know.
I thought this was very sweet. Obviously, it was corny, but, like, for me, it was a lot less.
It felt very authentic. Like, this was one of the few characters I feel like they brought on. I was like, this is a full person.
Yes. 100%.
And I could do 7 more episodes of Mary and her adventures.
I want a spin-off about Mary the nun, like, discovering her life and her sexuality. Like, that is what this episode left me wanting, and it makes me sad knowing we're definitely not going to get that.
I know, but it was so nice to be with her for one.
It was, and a testament to Rosie O'Donnell as an actor.
Yeah.
Like,
100%.
She did a great job making this character, like, more than just a running joke. I really just loved it.
Absolutely, yeah. If there was a hypothetical person, like a man that you're interested in, what Broadway t-shirt would they wear that you would actually be attracted to them?
I don't know. I don't think there is one, Caroline.
I was thinking, like, a Sweeney Todd or something like that. That's, like, not super mainstream. And it tells me, oh, you have a little bit of taste.
Yeah, or like a Passing Strange or something. Like something that's like more offbeat that I would be like, oh, you know about that. Tell me more. Okay, and now we are closing in on the end, and for some fucking reason, they were like, let's see more of this awkward phone sex.
Someone asked for it.
And this was extra painful because Carrie gets shut down. In Aidan's defense, though, she gave him no warning at all.
I know. You need to have a little bit of warning if you're going to phone sex. Like, there has to be some preamble.
If you're going to phone sex. No, there does. You have to have an agreed upon, like, time that this is, like, okay. I mean, Aidan also ambushed her, but, like, Carrie lives alone, you know?
I know. What I'm hoping is that this is leading towards them ending, is what I have to hope.
It does seem that way. I mean, this is, like, why the show is not that good, because it's so easy to see the mechanics of what they're doing, of, like, they're just setting Carrie up to be single again. They let her, after Big, have her, like, Aidan moment to sort of satisfy any, like, what ifs in her mind and in the mind of the viewers, but like it does seem like we are very slowly coming to a close of this relationship. I think we probably have at least 2 to 3 more episodes of it.
Yeah. I think what I'm hoping is that, and they're not going to, but part of me was thinking, like, I hope that they acknowledge that this is probably a part of her grief process. It's easier to go back to someone that she knows, even though she knows it's not a fit, but at least it's someone that she knows and is comforted by. Yes. And that makes sense when you're a widow. You're losing your entire life, and that it would make sense for you to go back, to backtrack a bit. But 100%. They're not going to acknowledge that. But, like, I think I now sort of have recognized why we're being forced to, you know, have Aidan shoved down our throats a bit.
I think that's a really good point. And I hope that they do acknowledge that in some way, because, like, yeah, it makes sense. You would want the familiarity. it's very easy to be like, oh my God, I lost the love of my life and like my primary person. And then wait, there's always been this like secondary love of my life and primary person who's ready to like give me the emotional comfort that I need. But the end of this relationship seems to spur Carrie into becoming a quote unquote novelist. We get that classic Carrie in a Word document on her laptop, like writing her own story.
It was everything we've wanted.
I am excited about this because I feel like something that And Just Like That has been missing is, even though Carrie is still writing books, there isn't her like voice of writing. And the thing is, the title of the show is pulled from the voice of Carrie narrating her life, you know? Like that was such a trope of Sex and the City, and it's very easy to sort of make fun of it, and it was very cheesy at times, but Carrie's voice and commentary and like her speaking to us directly through her writing has been such an important element of the show that I feel like I have been missing that.
I know. It made me feel like, and also getting the voiceover. It was the combination of the two. I was like, okay, so maybe we're returning to the ancient texts. Texts. Return to them. We want them. They worked.
We want them. I mean, we're not going to be able to summon Kim Cattrall no matter what we do.
Yeah, and we've like made our bed with that. You know, like
we have.
I think we've sort of accepted that she's not coming back. That's fine. But like, there's still so much that we can work with from the original show that you can use and works. It would feel authentic, I think, to these characters.
Absolutely.
I miss the podcast. I miss the Carrie working on that podcast because I thought that was such a nice, in between worlds of like her doing the column. I miss that world because I was like, it was a nice way for her to also have something to talk about every week. That felt like the column.
Yeah, I think that, like, Carrie being a writer and somebody who parses out her emotional journey in words is, like, very important to who she is. And when you take that away and you just sort of like, oh, here's a book and here's the cover of the book and, like, I wrote a book, then she's just, like, a rich lady with a lot of shoes who, like, is kind of a prude. And I agree that, like, I felt like the podcast, when that episode started of the first episode of And Just Like That, I was like, aha, transitioning this to a podcast makes a lot of sense.
100%. Because, again, who is making... I mean, even in the 90s, for her to be making a full living salary on a column is so unrealistic. But we bought it.
Her financial situation has never made any sense, but we did buy it. We did buy it.
Bought it.
Now... And now you buy it because you're like, well, she was married to an incredibly rich man who passed away and left her all his money. She had enough to donate, what was it, like $10K to Edith's new magazine for older women.
Good for her.
She had enough money to be invited to a luncheon with Gloria Steinem.
Okay, and now you reminded me of that. I think absolutely we're getting if we can get Gloria Steinem, we're getting Michelle Obama.
100,000%. If Gloria Steinem is willing to go on And Just Like That, we will definitely get at least a minute of a Zoom call with Michelle Obama. I am predicting. Yeah.
Yeah, I see it.
Any other final thoughts?
I don't know where this season is going, but I'm here, I'm strapped in, and I can't wait to see what happens. I'm just glad I haven't been forced to watch Brady have sex yet.